What's going on, guys? This is Richie here, back again from the Planet Films, bringing you yet another video, and this time it is going to be a spoiler-full review for the Cloverfield Paradox, which is available to watch instantly on Netflix. So I guess you can consider this somewhat of a Netflix review. It's been quite a while since we made one of those onto the channel. But yeah, I heard rumors about there being some sort of Cloverfield movie hitting Netflix. I wasn't sure if it was supposed to be the upcoming one that's based in World War II. I don't know. I mean, Netflix has been doing some things where they're acquiring films, and I mean, with 10 Cloverfield Lane, the movie was originally a film called The Cellar, but the script was picked up by Paramount and Bad Robot, and then they decided to make it into a Cloverfield type spin-off movie where it's like a blood relative of the first film, and reshoot a couple of different things to kind of insert it into the movie, and then that's what made 10 Cloverfield Lane, which is a very, very well done film. Anywho, so yeah, I mean, I was rummaging through Twitter, and I was hearing all this stuff about a new Cloverfield movie, and I'm like, what? So I hop on, and everybody's like, oh my god, this new Cloverfield film was just like revealed during the Super Bowl, and then it's going to be available to watch right after the game, and I was like, what? So I only just got around to watching it yesterday. I'm currently recording this right now. It is, I'll tell you in just a second, Thursday, February 8th at 11:29. You can even see my phone, so it doesn't even matter. Anyways, so going right into this movie, I mean, I was super hyped. I've been a fan of the Cloverfield franchise since the first movie. I remember being in high school, it was 2008, and I couldn't really like go to the movies as much as I wanted to. So I remember watching Cloverfield on like one of those, movie pirating websites or whatever. And I enjoyed it. I really loved it. I was a little bit into the viral marketing before the movie came out, but then when I watched the movie, I did all like the research and everything. I remember watching a YouTube channel by the name of Eric with no K, and Eric Striffler, he did like all these breakdowns and everything like that, and I'm like, oh my god, this is my guy, like, like I could relate to his videos and everything like that, and that's exactly how I felt. Like, I didn't really have any movie nerd friends back in high school to really talk to about it and everything like that. So, it was very interesting to see this platform of YouTube and stuff like that, but again, I digress, kind of going into a bit of a tangent. So anyways, Cloverfield just had an amazing, amazing viral marketing campaign to things like fake news interviews and all these different things, to the Taguratu oil rig spill like in the middle of like this ocean, and that originally awakening the Clover monster down in the depths of the ocean because they were doing some oil drilling. Kind of changes a little bit with the Cloverfield Paradox, which I'll get to in just a second. I'm not going to delve into the spoilers quite yet, but hopefully you've seen this movie already and you're just going to stick around for this video. If you haven't, highly recommend you see the Cloverfield Paradox, and if you haven't seen the first Cloverfield movie or 10 Cloverfield Lane, go ahead and do so. Could this movie make sense on its own? Yeah, definitely, but to be able to really appreciate it, definitely watch those first two films first, and then if you want to, get into the whole viral marketing stuff that came out. But anyways, different story for a different topic. So pretty much what I want to do is kind of just break down everything that kind of happened, some of the theories that I thought it might be, and some of the theories that I share with other people that they think it is, which seems to be the most plausible case. The Cloverfield Paradox is pretty much about a group of astronauts that are sent up into space in the Shepherd, which is the name of the ship, and the year is 2028, and pretty much Earth is out of like energy, so they're trying to find this way to give us some like infinite energy, so there isn't this whole crisis and whatnot. So these astronauts, this whole group of the whole group of characters, pretty much the whole cast that we see in the movie, they're up there for a really long time, quite a couple of years, and they're finally able to get the thing work in the particle accelerator, and it goes off. There's a power surge though. What ends up happening is that there's a paradox, so their visibility of the Earth is completely gone They don't know where the Earth is. They're looking around. Absolutely nothing. They have no communication back to Earth. Evidently, what pretty much happens is they're flipped into like an alternate dimension. I instantly picked up on this right away because of comic book arcs or even television shows such as The Flash, Arrow, Legends of Tomorrow, and everything like that. All deal with the multiverse. All deal with different dimensions, different Earths, all that stuff. Comic books in general, Earth 0, or Earth 1, Earth 2. Even Marvel has had a couple of different like multiverse, story arcs and everything like that. So it's not hard to digest and everything like that. I can kind of see maybe where people might, be a little bit ignorant in those terms. And they do explain it. Albeit, they do briefly explain it. So for certain people, it might be a little bit hard to kind of pick up on it because in the movie it's like right on to the next thing. Getting back to the cast, what I was saying, everybody does their part. Quite a couple of people that are seen in other movies in this movie. We got Baron Zemo from Civil War in this movie, which I thought was pretty cool. I'm not even going to try and pronounce their names. Like, I'm looking at it right now. The main character who plays Hamilton, for some reason I was thinking of Nadine from Uncharted 4. If you guys had played Uncharted 4, I feel like she'd be the perfect fit, especially the accent and just the look. The whole list of characters: Keel, Schmidt, Monk, Mundy, Volkov, Tam, Jensen, Michael, which was the husband of the character Hamilton in the movie, who they have a pretty tragic backstory. They're a nice, happy family, and unfortunately, they lost their kids to a fire in their house, which was, added that extra depth of emotion for the character and everything like that. And I felt like the characters are very well done. Not really any complaints or anything like that. But getting right into the movie, they're pretty much trying to figure out how to get back into their own parallel dimension. I mean, their own, normal Earth, per se. So they end up finding this chick in the wall by the name of Jensen. And she recognizes the crew, but the crew doesn't recognize her because this character Jensen is from this parallel universe that they accidentally went into when the power surge happened on the ship. So she's explaining that Schmidt was the one who sabotaged the ship, and being that they're in this alternate reality, they're finding the things that Jensen is telling them, that there's these different files that he transmitted to the Russians. So pretty much what's going on is it's a state of flux. What shouldn't belong is being changed. Like Volkov's eye gets all wonky, and then these worms that were on the ship just end up bursting out of his chest. What doesn't belong on that Earth is being terminated. You know what I mean? It does not belong. It does not exist. Case in point, later on down the road in the movie, Hamilton finds out that she's not a part of that crew. That it's really just Jensen that's there. Hamilton decided to stay on Earth with her family, and she finds out that like her kids and everything are there, and she's a happy family. Keel warns her that that's not your family. That's that version of Hamilton's family. What are they going to do? How are they going to react if they see you down there? You know what I mean? So that's just going to create this whole different, just it's going to mess things up, really. So getting back to like the DC shows and the DC comics and everything like that, when you look at this episode of Star City 2046 and Legends of Tomorrow Season 1, the character of Sarah Lance wanted to help Star City, but the captain was warning her that if you mess with this timeline, it can mess something else up. This isn't your Earth. This isn't, your timeline. Don't mess with it. Of course, they go on and whatever, they go save the day, blah, blah, blah. But there's different consequences, in this movie, obviously. So getting back to what I mentioned earlier about the oil rig doing some underwater mining and originally awakening this monster that attacks New York City and Cloverfield, pretty much what happens is when the particle accelerator goes off and there's a power surge on the Shepherd, it creates this freaking whiplash of events that opens some sort of crazy portal, which they mention briefly early on in the movie when there's a bit of a newsreel, and there's a character by the name of Mark Stambler who's like this author, and he made a book called The Cloverfield Paradox, basically warning that, should they be successful, what if this happens? And his theory was pretty much correct. There are those conspiracy theorists that are out there that are either predicting the end of the world or whatever you can possibly think of. So, it's plausible. I believed it. Now, if you go back and look at some of the viral marketing stuff from 10 Cloverfield Lane, or even this movie, the name of Mark Stambler should sound familiar because John Goodman's character in 10 Cloverfield Lane, his name was Howard Stambler, and he worked for, I believe, the satellite imaging or something like that for Tagaratu. Tagaratu is pretty much this movie's Weyland-Yutani Corporation. What Alien did with that, Tagaratu is to Cloverfield. They're pretty much like the catalyst of all these things that could kind of go awry, albeit it's not really their fault, but it is. You know what I mean? But Weyland-Yutani Corporation, that whole different ball game. So they're pretty much trying to get back to their own Earth. Jensen pretty much turns on everybody because she's like, like if I can get back to my Earth and save billions of people, just at the expense of your guys' lives, which is like 3 or 4, I'm gonna do it. So like, deuces, I'm out. Her and Hamilton, get into like a physical exchange, and Hamilton ends up getting the upper hand. She doesn't go to the Earth to, see her family. Instead, she ends up sending a message saying, don't do this because this will happen. I'm going to try and save your Earth. This might sound bizarre, but please trust me. And they're able to get whatever it is that they need to redo the particle accelerator, get back to their Earth. So, albeit Hamilton's husband, he's on the ground level. He's seeing everything that's happening. All these things are down on Earth. He's trying to go to his job at the hospital. The hospital's destroyed. He runs into this little girl. Him and this little girl see this giant monster just hovering aboard. I kind of had an inkling as to what it might be, but I don't want to get my hopes up too high. All the while this movie's kind of progressing, I'm thinking that this movie's going to tie into the first one, that they're going to leave the ship, and the thing that you see falling in the background at the end of Cloverfield, when they're at the amusement park, falling into the water, I thought that was going to tie in with the space shuttle falling from Shepard down to Earth. I thought that was going to be like the whole tie-in or whatever. What I didn't expect was this whole sort of twist of events where, okay, you effed up this alternate dimension, now you done opened up a whole ripple which affects so many different other Earths. So that's the whole theory, that these movies don't really take place within the same universe. This film is in its own Earth, 2028. 10 Cloverfield Lane is in its own Earth, which is 2016. And Cloverfield is on its own Earth in 2008, which would explain the whole difference of technology, where they're using iPhones and stuff like that in this movie, and then in Cloverfield they're using like flip phones and freaking sidekicks and stuff like that, So it defeats all those loopholes and plot holes and everything like that. The fact that there's different Earths, these are all different dimensions. You mess with one thing, it's going to affect all these other Earths and timelines and reality and dimensions. It sounds complicated, but it really isn't. At least to me, it's not. Because again, I don't know. I kind of have I don't want to say I have knowledge of this or anything like that, but there's other forms of media and entertainment out there that have delved into time travel and different dimensions and everything like that. So it all makes sense. And this seems to be like the most plausible theory. It's like they're not all connected, but they are, but they're not because they're on separate Earths. You know what I mean? So evidently, this franchise can be milked to death, but basically any movie can be turned into a Cloverfield film, which is, what's going to be, I guess, the upcoming Cloverfield movie, where it's going to take place in World War II, where, they're fighting Nazis and there's like aliens and stuff like that. So it's going to be interesting to see, like, that dynamic and that, like, sort of, you know, time setting and everything like that. I'm very interested to see what they do with that movie. So, I mean, yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. The ending, I really didn't see. I didn't expect to see the ending. Well, you know what kind of transpired. Basically, like, the monster that Hamilton's husband sees towards the end of the film, Michael, with the little girl, or in the middle of the film rather, like, pops up at the end. And this version of Clover is a lot more bigger than the one that was in the 2008 Cloverfield movie, which shocked me. I thought that was freaking awesome. Going back a little bit, though, when Michael saved the little girl, I thought that girl, Molly, was going to be like this version of Jensen. Because they kind of kept making that parallel. Like, when the scene changed, it was back on Jensen or, like, back on Molly and stuff like that. So it was interesting. I'm like, I don't really trust this girl. And then there's a part where Michael, he's on the phone, and he asks, I guess, a buddy that he's on the line with if he can use his bunker. And then I thought, oh, man, this is going to tie in to 10 Cloverfield Lane. Not necessarily, but you do see that same familiar bunker from 10 Cloverfield Lane, and I was kind of geeking out and everything like that. Little fun fact, though, in the Cloverfield Paradox, the news anchor, I believe, that's interviewing Stambler is the same woman in 10 Cloverfield Lane that was trying to get into the bunker when Mary Elizabeth Winstead's character, Michelle, was, like, you know, looking out to see what was going on. So, again, there's all these different little Easter eggs and references and everything like that are just so interesting. Speaking of Easter eggs, I was on my phone earlier today during work on my break, and I decided to go on, like, the Tagaratu website, and it completely changed. I saw a picture of it from a couple of days ago. I think, like, the day of or the day before Cloverfield Paradox hit Netflix, and I went on it today, and it completely changed to, like, Hebrew text, which is very odd. I went on a Reddit, and people were kind of breaking down what it says, and it's just really interesting. All of these different Easter eggs, even the whole Slusho thing. You know, there's a theory that the Cloverfield universe takes place in some of J.J. Abrams' different titles that he has, like Lost. It even gets referenced in Star Trek a couple of times. Tagaratu and Slusho, which is, like, a very popular drink. I don't really think it takes place in the same universe. I just think it's, you know, Easter eggs. Fun little Easter eggs that J.J. Abrams kind of just throws out there, you know, just because. So I think that's kind of harmless fun. But stuff like that I really just, like, nerd out for and everything like that. But, I mean, overall, you know, performances and everything like that, and kind of just attention and plot and writing, I really enjoyed the Cloverfield Paradox. I can see why a couple people might not like it. It's very sad to see that it has the score that it has on Rotten Tomatoes and even IMDb and Metacritic and everything like that. And a couple of people are, you know, saying that they do enjoy it. I've seen a lot of more favorable opinions on the YouTube comments, such as, like, Chris Stuckman and Jeremy Johns, channels like that. A lot of people seem to have enjoyed this movie, more so than the critics. And I think the critics are kind of panning it a little bit too quickly. I think there's a lot of clever underlying sort of storytelling with all these three films. I don't know. Just stuff like this really intrigues me. It's very different, you know? It's kind of cool to see us get this sort of monster movie with this amount of backstory, so far as to creating all of these fake newsreels and everything like that. And I don't know. Just things like that really intrigue me. I really like the amount of thought that's been put behind these movies and everything like that, or put into them, rather. And I mean, overall, I have to recommend the Cloverfield Paradox. I really do. If you're a fan of the first movie and 10 Cloverfield Lane, I think you'll really enjoy this movie. If you haven't seen those other two films, I think this movie can stand as a standalone, pretty much, for lack of a better term. But it would be in your best interest to see the previous two films, just so everything chronologically just kind of makes sense, you know. But I can't wait to watch it again to see if there's anything that I missed. I don't know if there'll be a Blu-ray release of this movie. I mean, the Daredevil series has come out on Netflix, and I have seen a couple of Netflix movies hit Blu-ray, so I'm assuming that it would. Hopefully it's kind of chock full of special features, and even on Cloverfield, the Blu-ray, there's a couple of little hidden things on the Blu-ray menu and everything like that, or the DVD menu, especially if you pop it into like your PC or whatever and you're moving around the mouse, like you'll see like prompts for like different links and everything. It'll show you like different footage and stuff like that. So again, just completely geeking out over all those little Easter eggs and just hidden references, because man, this movie is I really enjoy it. But I strongly recommend this film. And again, I believe if I had to give this movie a letter grade, I'm gonna have to go ahead and give it a solid B+. Yeah, I mean, maybe a B+ is a little bit too high, but again, I really enjoyed this movie. I really appreciate all the small little details that they put in, down from the Easter eggs to the storytelling to the references. I don't know, this movie just really expanded upon the whole Cloverfield universe. I believe it answers some questions and then it raises some new ones. And then, these movies are meant to, especially this franchise, it's meant to cause debate. It's meant to stir discussion amongst your friends, amongst other movie nerds and everything like that, just to see where people lie on the whole story, what their opinions are on the theories. I firmly believe in the whole 3 different Earth theories, that this takes place on that one, and that one. It makes sense, You mess with something over here, this happens. It's like that one sort of saying that goes, the flutter of like a butterfly's wing can cause a typhoon halfway across the world, something like that, the butterfly effect type thing. So, I don't know. Again, these things just sort of intrigue me. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. Which was your favorite Cloverfield movie? Did you enjoy this movie? What are your thoughts on the theories? Just any and everything you want to let me know. Feel free to sound off in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed my review, please leave a like. Favorite this video, share with your friends on Facebook, Twitter, wherever. Any little bit of help is greatly appreciated. Hit that subscribe button if you're new. Consider joining the Red Planet Army and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. In the description box, again, will be the review to 10 Cloverfield Lane that I did 2 years ago when the movie came out, as well as a link to our gaming channel, the Red Planet Gaming, where we are 800 subscribers strong. Our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram if you want to follow us on social media, as well as a little Streamlabs donation link if you want to give us some of your chump change, couch change, pocket change, whatever. Not mandatory, just decided to make it for shiggles. And the last little plug-in, I have this new series going on called Film Flap, where we flap our gums on the latest news and gossip going on in the entertainment industry, as well as rumors and everything like that. So I'm on the 2nd episode, going to be uploading the 3rd episode soon, so make sure to stay tuned for that if you guys are interested. But that's pretty much it. Again, like, favorite, share, comment, subscribe, check the description box, turn on them notifications, all that good stuff. I want to thank you all so much for tuning in into this measly old little video, me ranting for almost 20 some odd minutes about the whole Cloverfield franchise and Cloverfield Paradox and all the other theories and all that good stuff. Again, let me know your thoughts and opinions down below, and I will catch you guys in the next video. So thank you all so much for tuning in.